In this information age, there's so much knowledge out there. And one of the trouble is, who do we listen to? I have a rule of thumb. Always seek knowledge and wisdom from ones that are centuries old. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about 10 moral sayings from Publius Syrus. My name is Dalal, and this is Wiser Thinking. These 10 sayings are not only short and easy to remember, but they're gonna help you get wiser. And now for the first saying. The formidable enemy lies in one's own heart. Sometimes it's easy to blame others for your mistakes and situations, but what you must realize is that you are your own worst enemy. Instead of being productive like working out, writing that blog you always wanted, or starting that side business, you procrastinate and go on to watch Netflix or just be lazy on the couch and just really not start on the things that will provide so much value in your life and maybe many others. And when you see someone reap rewards from their hard work, you can't help but look with contempt because you think that should be you, but you're blaming whatever situation or circumstances that you have for holding you back from your success. However, you have to look in the mirror and realize that you are being your own biggest obstacle. Nobody else, you. Not many people realize that they're their own worst enemy. I do a lot of self-reflection to ensure that my thinking and my actions are not holding me back from accomplishing my goals. And that's a hard thing to do because you have to be blunt with yourself in order to see the truth. For years, I didn't realize that my most formidable enemy was in my own heart. And when I realized this, that's when I took responsibility for my life. And that's when I started being accountable for my actions. And from that, I was able to learn from my mistakes and grow. Saying number 2, powerful indeed is the empire of habit. Did you ever try breaking a bad habit? It's not easy, right? Because after years of the habit establishing itself, it becomes very difficult to break it. So be mindful and careful of which habits you're allowing to rule your life. One bad habit that was ruling my life for years was my love of junk food. Every day I would eat some form of junk food and I loved it, I'm not gonna lie. And when I decided to reduce the amount of junk food I'd be eating every day, breaking that bad habit was very difficult. And it took years of reconditioning to finally reduce that habit to a much more healthier and comfortable level. Now, when the habits are good, you're going to reap extreme rewards from it. For example, when I decided to read 10 pages a day, I became much more knowledgeable, an effective thinker, and open-minded. Over the years, augmenting that good reading habit has produced amazing results for me. And if you take the time to reflect over your bad habits and replace them with good habits, you will help yourself in becoming the person you always envisioned yourself to be. Whether that's being wiser or healthier, all this is in the palm of your hands. Saying number 3, victory waits upon unit of action. A lot of people today talk a lot and they don't back it up. Like that one common saying, talk is cheap. So if you have a goal or a dream, it's only going to be achieved when you take action. Because if everyone could talk their way to success, then everybody on earth would be successful and rich. Always ask yourself when you're daydreaming or thinking about your goals and dream, am I taking any actions that will get me closer to my dream or goal? Saying number 4, would you have a great empire? Rule over yourself. A lot of people envision themselves as a CEO or a hotshot lawyer or an amazing overall success. They see themselves ruling over an imaginary empire. But the most important empire to rule is yourself. And that's not the easiest empire to rule. When you're lazy and don't want to go to the gym, that's an example where you're not even ruling yourself. Or say that you've been procrastinating that important yet difficult discussion with that important somebody. That's another example where you have no ruling over yourself. When you can discipline yourself to do the difficult things in life, then that is a success on its own. That indeed is an empire you are ruling. Saying number 5. It is a bad plan that admits no modification. Alright, this saying is for the people that are all rigid with their perfect plans. I'm the first to admit that I was guilty of this. Whenever any of my plans changed a little bit, I thought it was a disaster. One key trait that people need to have in life is adaptability. So when you make a plan, make sure it's always open for modification just in case the circumstances change. The US Army used to do a lot of planning before any mission. Every soldier's move was preceded by a plan that could be traced back to the president. However, after years of planning and revising the process, they realized no plan ever survived contact with the enemy because unpredictable things happen. After this realization, the US Army changed their planning system so it would be much more effective. And the same goes for you too, because life will throw unexpected things at you. And that's a fact. So remember, stay adaptable and change accordingly to the circumstances. Now, saying number 6. Fear never advanced a man to the highest standing. Whenever you're second guessing yourself on something, err on the side of boldness, because fear won't take you where you want to be. In the book 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, Law 28 states, enter action with boldness. In Law 28, Robert Greene says, your fears of the consequences of the bold actions are way out of proportion to reality. And in fact, the consequences of timidity are worse. Think of it this way. If you never ask, the answer is always no. But if you do ask, and with boldness, you might get more than you wanted. Remember, life is more interesting when you take bold chances. Now, saying number 7. Do not despise the lowest steps in the ascent to greatness. People want the shortcuts to success. They'll jump on the hottest trends for stocks, or they'll pay good money for shortcuts to success classes. But in reality, if you want to get anywhere successfully, you are going to have to take the lowest steps first. And that is no shame. For example, when new immigrants arrive in Canada, one of the first things they have to do to settle here is either learn English or French. It might seem shameful, but it is a necessary step for them to make themselves into something. Like the saying from Lao Tzu, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Now, saying number 8. He bids fair to grow wise who has discovered that he is not so. In this information era, a lot of people claim to know a lot of things. And it's these very same people who refuse to read books or do some thorough research. And I'm not talking about a quick Google search. Once you accept your ignorance, you're allowing yourself to start growing wise. I remember when I was a lot younger, I thought I knew everything. I was stubborn, and I refused to listen to people's advice or wisdom. As a result, I had no growth of those years of stubbornness and ignorance. The day that I accepted that I didn't know all the answers is the day that I started my journey of pursuing wisdom. And all those benefits I mentioned earlier in this video about being an effective thinker, being open-minded, and much more knowledgeable, was a result from my pursuit of wisdom and acknowledgement of my ignorance. And remember, I'm not anything special. And if I can begin my journey to wisdom, so can you. Now, saying number 9. It takes a long time to bring excellence to maturity. Almost anything worthwhile takes time. That's a fact. People want to be automatically successful and happy. But even after you take the first steps to pursue it, it's a long journey ahead. Producing anything with excellence takes a long time and there's no shortcuts. Think of it this way. Being a specialist in any field takes time. It's not only years of schooling, but also years of practicing and executing. At the end of the journey for the specialist, a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, he or she is so talented." But they'll never know or understand the years of learning and practicing. So for the next time you're about to quit something, pause and reflect over saying number 9. Now, saying number 10. There is no problem so difficult that it cannot be solved by investigation. Living in this information age, there's no reason for you to find answers and solutions to whatever questions or problems you have. If you're having a problem or wanting to start a business, you can easily do a Google search, find books to read, find professionals to talk with. After some intense research, you should not only have answers, but a whole new set of knowledge. After this video, review all these sayings and reflect over them. And try your best to not only understand them, but also live them out. Comment below which one was your favorite saying, like this video, and subscribe. And until next time guys, let's get wiser.